This is Doug, and welcome to the Practicing Accountant podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing networking. Networking to me is one of the more valuable tools, if not the most valuable tool, in finding new clients, especially clients within your niche. Today, we'll talk about some of the best ways to network and worst ways to network. Also, the difference between networking for relationship and for transactions. We do hope you enjoy this episode. What's your coffee routine in the morning?
I'm always decaf.
Never calf?
Never caffeine, because I use pre-workout before I go to the gym, and there's plenty of caffeine in that for a 24-hour day. I just put that in the Keurig, and I have my cup or two, and then sometimes I'll drink 5 or 6 cups of decaf. But
Jeez.
just
I guess it's not. I mean, it's not bad for you, right? If there's no caffeine in it and whatever, it's not like it's a bad thing, right?
Yeah, probably. There's probably something bad in it, but it's not as bad as 6 cups of high test.
So my coffee routine is an art, and it goes like this. So I'm always trying to make sure that I get the coffee ready the night before.
Yep.
And 9 days out of 10 I will. And then I wake up at 5, and I don't get coffee until about 7, but I'll wake up at 5 and I'll do my little routine. I'll do my workout. I'll read something, look through some emails, whatever. And then I have to listen. And I listen for my wife's footsteps upstairs. And as soon as I start hearing the footsteps, then I run into the kitchen and I hit start. And she'll come down, and we just, regular coffee out of a coffee machine. But then by the time she actually comes downstairs, the coffee's just coming out hot. I finally get my cup. She gets her cup. We sit down. We talk for however many minutes we have. It's usually 15 to 30. Catch up on our days, what you're going to do. And then I fill up this is not advertisement for thermos, but it is. I fill up my little thermos cup, which will keep it hot for at least 4 or 5 hours of the day. So I can just sip on coffee most of the morning and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah, to clarify, it's almost 5 o'clock here. We're recording, and Doug is still drinking his coffee.
Still drink. Well, that's because I've been so damn busy today. I haven't had a chance to enjoy it. I've just been running around. I actually talked. You know what I talked to today? Alan Colton.
I'm familiar.
He's kind of the mastermind behind all the private equity that's coming into public accounting, and he's involved with a lot of the really big M&A deals that are going on right now, and he's kind of a celebrity in the public accounting world well, he's a celebrity to me. Like if he showed up, like I'd grab my 10 key and be like, sign it, give me your autograph, or something really nerdy like that. But that's how I roll. If there was baseball cards in public accounting of influencers and powerful figures, his would be like a DiMaggio. He's pretty up there.
Quick side note there. The accounting nerd thing. I noticed today that you sent me something formatted that totally should have been in Word, and you put it in Excel. Yeah. Do you write essays in Excel as well?
I don't. You know what? Let's see. How did I do that? Well, you know what I did is I opened up the pictures you sent and just started typing them in Excel, and then, for whatever reason, I thought it'd be easier to answer the questions in Excel. But I realized the formatting of those cells suck. I'm addicted to Excel. Like if I can do it in Excel, I'm going to do it in Excel.
I can tell.
And it doesn't matter what it is. It's like, does Excel work for this? My clients get annoyed by it. Most of them are accountants. They don't get that annoyed.
Right.
But I'm always like, let's put that in the spreadsheet. Let's figure that out. When the rows are this, the columns are that. Here's the formula. Let's build this thing. Here's a pie chart. I had a client yesterday. I built a pie chart for him while I was talking to him, working with him, and sent it to him like it was a big deal. Like he can't make a freaking pie chart, but I was still like, look what I made for you. I made you the spreadsheet.
That's fair. I had a lady that I worked with for a long time, and she, everything, same thing. Everything was in Excel, no matter what. I mean, it would just be there. That was her notepad. So. But anyway, back to Alan Colton. Sorry.
Well, anyway, the reason I bring him up is not to say I got to talk to Alan, which is fun, but it was networking. He is probably one of the primary people for me to network with because of what he can provide to me. And it's not easy to get him. And I only got him for 15 minutes because the dude's just extremely busy. Or maybe I'm just really not important. One of the two. Either way, I had to reach out to him, and he's gracious enough to say, yeah, let's meet. And then his admin gets involved, and she's like, okay, we're going to do it on the 12th at 12:30 Central. And I'm like, great. And then I don't get an invite, and I gotta reach back out to the admin, and she's like, well, I sent it. And then I checked, and she didn't. And then I finally got the invite, and then I got the time with him, and I prepared an hour for a 15-minute conversation with this guy because he's that important of a contact to me. Like if I say the right things, if I plant my name into his head in a certain way, he'll think of me when opportunities arise that I could support his clients. So I had an agenda, which I didn't tell him. I wasn't like, okay, and today's agenda is number one, we're going to check in and see how we are each doing. Number two, we're going to find out what you're up to these days. None of that shit. I had it, and I practiced it, and I prepared it because it's one of the more important meetings that can provide me with an opportunity to serve more accountants in the world. So networking is our topic today. And specifically, stop networking more, start networking better. When I first became a partner in public accounting, celebration aside, one of the things I quickly noticed was that I became more popular in my network. And not necessarily with the right people. Like, I think there's people that kind of watch the papers for I'll be honest, I do. Like, I'll watch papers to see who gets promoted or who gets a new position. And that may be someone I reach out to see if they need support as a coach. But when you become a partner in public accounting, there's people that watch that too. And they go, ooh, they're going to start making good money. I'm with Northwest Mutual. I need to reach out to this guy and see if I can manage his money that he's going to make. Or, I'm in insurance, and this guy looks like he's in my industry. And I bet he's got a lot of clients that I could really sell insurance to. I want to reach out to this new partner and connect with him. Point being is, like, I was getting invites to go for lunch and breakfasts and to do a lot of things, a lot more than I was before I became a partner. And I said yes to like all of them. And it sucked. And I gained weight, and I felt like my calendar was out of control, and I was meeting people, and I was having these great lunches at great places, and I would get jack shit from them. I'd meet someone like, I'm in insurance. Well, I'm in accounting. Great. Awesome. Okay. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? They were not productive conversations because each of us was going through the motions of networking, but we weren't really being intentional with who we were networking with, more so on my side than maybe theirs. Mm-hmm. And so I quickly realized that if I continued down this path, I'd continue to gain weight, I'd continue to waste time, and I would continue to get nothing from my networking. And so I had to change. I had business development goals and targets I was trying to accomplish, and I wasn't going to get them doing it the way I was doing it. So I had to change my networking. And I came up with a filter. Mm-hmm. And it was basically 3 questions that I would ask before I agreed to meet with someone. And those three questions were: 1, is this a prospect? 2, is this someone who knows the prospect I'm looking for? And 3, is this someone I can learn something from? And depending on how I answered those questions, I would decide whether I would or wouldn't meet with someone. And I was okay with saying no, or saying, you know what, let's just have a phone call. Mm-hmm. We don't need to drive to downtown and have a lunch so that I can hear about your bank that I already know about and we've already got plenty of connections with. Yep. Instead, I would say, okay, wow, this person actually knows people that I want to meet. I need to meet with him or her because there's a chance that they can send me business. Or they know something about the industry that I don't, that I need to learn, and I need to meet with them to learn it. Like, that's a good reason. But I think a lot of accountants network without a reason. They network because it's what they're supposed to do, or they feel like they should be doing. And then they go out and they meet with friends or people they haven't really developed a relationship or never going to lead to any new business. And they waste their time and energy. And I'm an introvert, believe it or not. And it takes a lot of energy for me to go out and have networking meetings.
Sure.
I get back from those things and I shut down for a couple of hours because I'm tired and I need to be alone and don't talk to me. And my wife, even, like, when I get home from something like that, she's like, "Ooh, give him space. He looks angry." But that's how an introvert reacts to being an extrovert, is they go into a place of solitude.
It's a lot like getting clients. It's people network accidentally, and we talk a lot about accident versus intention, and the intention has to be here too, because you're just going to waste your time with unqualified connections. Just like if you're meeting with everybody that rings the doorbell at your office, you're going to be spending time meeting with unqualified clients. So the intention is key there, and I like the filter. That's a pretty decent filter.
Yeah, it works, and it doesn't have to be that for whoever listens to this, but something along those lines. Create a reason why you're going to spend your time with someone, which does bring up the whole. Is networking to create relationships, or is networking to create transactions? And the answer is both. It's not really an either or. I think some people look at networking as a transaction activity, and they're always the ones that sit down and you meet with them the first time, and they're asking you to share their client lists, and they're wanting to start getting you introduced to their clients and asking you to introduce them to yours on the first date. That's like, it's like getting to third base on the first date. I'm not ready for that. Like, slow down. I'm not that kind of a guy. But there are people that treat networking like a transaction, and it's not. It's also not just a relationship. You're not just trying to make friends. You're not just trying to find out about their families and when their birthdays are so that you can invite them to a ball game, or that you can send them a text on their birthday, or maybe you can hang out sometime, or maybe we can go to a concert together. You're not just trying to make friends with networking either. It's both. And I think there's a sequence to it. I think it's first you form a relationship. You build some trust, you build some understanding, you create a foundation to build upon. And with time, that relationship will provide opportunities of new clients. I wish I had a list. I don't, but it's probably, I'll guess, 100 names long of individuals that I'm currently in the process of building a relationship. Like Mr. Colton that I talked to today. That's one of them. Like, he's someone that I'm not at a point where I'm like, hey, send me clients. I'm at a point where I'm demonstrating what I do and who I am and credibility, and trying to build somewhat of a relationship there. And from that today, like, I'll send him stuff for the next 6 months of like articles or things that I saw that he did, or things that I did that I want him to see. But I'll be building that relationship to the point that it creates a transaction.
Yep.
And so again, networking isn't just relationship, isn't just transaction. It's a combination of the two that when you work them together, they will create the better result.
Yep. Networking is a marketing effort, and every marketing effort has to have a target. If you're running ads on Facebook, you wouldn't just ship the ad to anybody and everybody. You would pick your target audience and do that. Networking has to be the same, because it is a marketing activity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Unless you like going and getting drinks with random people that you provide no value and they provide no value to you. So
you really don't like, hanging out at home and avoiding your family, then unproductive networking is great for you.
Sure.
Go for it. You don't never have to go home again. But I mean, some of the best ones that I knew would have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 dinners, a couple of happy hours. Like they were constantly eating and meeting with people that had some degree of value for them. And they were amazing rainmakers because of it. Now, they were fat for it, but they would make it rain whenever they wanted to. So, there's a right way and a wrong way to do networking, and just networking for the sake of networking is the wrong way. It needs to be intentional, just like you said. It needs to be pointed in a direction. Now, what better direction to point it than at your either ideal client or ideal niche? And I think, you and I have kind of coined this term niche working, which is, a much more effective way of networking, in which we are targeting specific individuals within a specific niche and spending as much time as we can in that type of networking rather than anything outside of it. Yep. And it also is a great filter to add, maybe a fourth question. Maybe it's just a part of the first one. Is this a prospect? More importantly, is this a prospect in my niche? Is this someone in my niche who can introduce me to their clients? Is this someone I can learn from because of their niche expertise. And so adding that caveat on the filter allows you to be even more concentrated with your networking efforts. And it allows you then to shorten the list of folks that you should network with. And again, I'll bring up another example. I spoke to a woman last week that she's kind of like a Alan Colton, and that she's very influential in the accounting industry. And I targeted her, and I've spent a lot of time getting in with her because she's in my niche. She can provide me opportunities in public accounting and with accountants. And so I will bend over backwards for that one before I'll meet someone who's just, a banker, or someone who just knows some accountants somewhere. I mean, like it fits.
Mm-hmm.
And so my networking better is finding people that influence my niche or know my niche, and doing everything I can to meet with them instead of just anyone. And that's niche working.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's very similar to getting clients that we talk about, bringing in new clients. It's almost a perfect parallel of that conversation. Mm-hmm. The intentionality, the picking your niche, the not wasting your time on things that aren't a good fit. So good stuff.
Well, just one more thing before we wrap up today. So one other thing to add to the networking is to have some sort of CRM, or maybe NRM would be what we'd call the network relationship management tool.
There you go. Yep.
Now, big surprise, mine is a spreadsheet that I use to capture the names of the people that I'm trying to meet with, and when I last reached out to them, when I last met with them, when I'm going to reach out to them next. And every month I go in there and I update it for the people that mean the most to me in my network. And I make sure that once a month they're thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that I had a meeting with them. It doesn't mean that I did one thing. But what I did was I'd send them an article, or I'd send them an email, or I'd invite them to a Zoom call, or I'd invite them to lunch if they're local, or something to keep them, keep me in top of their mind, so that when they're working with the niche that we share, they're thinking of me for the solution in whatever it is their clients are dealing with.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome, man. That all you got?
That's all I got.
Perfect. It's good enough.
Oh, call to action though.
Yep.
One thing I would recommend anyone that listens to this, make a list of 10 solid individuals within your network that meet your filter. If you borrow ours, that's great. It's are they a prospect? Do they know your prospects? Or are they someone you can learn from around your niche? And if you make that list of 10, the best ones you can think of, start working on those and don't spend as much time on the others. I'm not saying cut them off, but just don't waste time meeting with a referral source that's never going to refer you work.
Yep. Get after it. You like the term hunting.
Yes.
And finding these networking connections that can be a great referral source is absolutely in that hunting category.
Big time.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Cool. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
All right. Cheers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast. We hope that from this episode, you're able to be more efficient in your networking, but also a lot more effective in it too. By using niche working, where you are targeting your networking activities at a specific ideal client or niche, will produce much better results than just networking with anyone. Please share and like this episode. If you'd like to learn more about us, please visit us at www.thepracticingaccountant.com. And we hope very much that you tune in for our next episode. Thank you very much for watching.